Welcome to this week's challenge. It is called the Positive Traits Challenge. It simply means focusing on the good side of your kids. For the next 1 week, all you want to do is to pay attention and record their act of kindness, act of responsibility, taking initiative, their excellence, their outstanding performances. Just record, pay attention to only the good side and record them. Now, one of the questions I get to be asked all the time in this parenting journey is, how do I raise confident children? And I always say to parents, it is not in the one thing you do, it is in the everything you do. That is the thing. One of the things we actually do that is against our raising confident children is our constant correction. We constantly correcting them. Now we correct them, we have the urge to correct them, we have the urge to whine, nag, discipline, because we always see their misbehaviors. If you sit back and look at it, is your child always misbehaving? No. But you spend most of the time correcting your child compared to acknowledging the good in them. You get back home and your child has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. Yes, you don't notice it, you don't pay attention to it. You get back home and the house is clean. It's not a big deal. Your kids are studying or something. It's not a big deal. The television is not broken. It's not a big deal. The house is not set on fire. It's not a big deal. The siblings are not fighting. It is not a big deal. You don't notice it. You don't talk about it. But come back home and one tiny thing is not in place and you go on and on and on about that. Now, this is what we always do. The truth of the matter is, our children always do 101 good things. They exhibit 101 good traits we don't notice because we are wired to pay attention to the negative. Because of that, we see the negative. Because we see the negative, we are always complaining, we are always correcting, we are always smacking, and at the end of the day, we are raising children who we lack self-confidence. Because the truth is, self-confidence is believing in yourself, in your ability, now in your abilities. Now, the more you correct a child, it simply means the more the child believes that, okay, I don't do well because I'm always being corrected. The more you kind of nag at a child, the more you condemn, the more you judge, the more the child sees himself as not being good enough. Because if I was good enough, why would I be constantly corrected? If I was doing well, why would I be constantly being nagged? So this week's challenge is for us to focus on the positives in our children. You just don't focus on them and go to bed. No, you actually want to write it down and you want to acknowledge the child. So you get back home and the living room is in a mess, but your child remembered to do dishes before you go back home. Acknowledge that dish. Acknowledge that. That is what we are saying. Do not whine, do not nag about the living room that is in a mess. But firstly, acknowledge the dishes that the child has done. Then you cannot gently tell the child, okay, you should tidy up the living room. That is what we are talking about. So pay attention to the good ones the child has done and record them. At the end of the week, you are going to have a list. So the challenge is one every day, one positive trait every day. From morning till night, deliberately write something down. The child remembers to greet you, right? It's not a big deal. So the day he doesn't remember to greet you is a big deal. You hear, can't you greet? Do I need to remind you to greet? Olodo, or you give a knock. So if you complain about the child not greeting you, it simply means that the day the child remembers to greet you, it's a good deed. It's a positive trait you will note down. The child remembers to do dishes is not a big deal. The day the child doesn't remember to do the dishes is a big deal. So it simply means that the day the child remembers to do the dishes without you telling him or her, you need to note it down. So for the next 1 week, every day, note one positive trait in your child. Act of kindness, extra grades in school or getting stars in school, act of responsibilities, taking initiative, act of empathy, getting along with siblings, again, taking initiative, just note them. Keep noting them. In fact, there's an activity we did last year. I think I will share it much later. You can join. It's called the Family Appreciation Day. I'll talk about it much later. But for today, take the entire week. Begin to notice the positive in your children. Another thing that it does when you notice it is you begin to reframe your thoughts towards your child. You know that, hey, my child is not always bad. He's not always misbehaving. So one of the things that happens is you see parents talk about their children. Oh, talk about their children. Just like some spouses talk about their spouses on social media, and you feel, oh my God, this spouse is the best thing after a bottle of chilled Coke on a hot sunny day. What you don't realize is that those people they are talking about actually have their negative sides. They have their downsides. But the people that talk about them do not focus on their downsides. They focus on their good sides and they share them. And you feel, oh, they are lucky. You are not lucky. No. No, everyone has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses. The same thing happens. A parent comes to social media. Oh, my child, I caught my child reading. And the next you feel, this child is reads a lot. He's studious. Why can't my child read? Go to that parent's home and see when they're having it hot. When the parent is having it hot with the child, then you know that you see every child, no child is perfect. Everyone has their own strengths, their own weaknesses. Everyone has their own good times and they have their own down times. So what you want to do for the next 1 week, focus on the positive sides of your child and acknowledge. Just don't focus alone. You acknowledge it. You acknowledge that positive side. Thank you. Oh, thank you for your effort. Oh, this is good. Oh, I love this that you did. A hug, a pat in the back, nice words. Just focus on the positive side. One of the things that happens when you do this is that it helps your child to behave more. It helps your child to feel connected with you. Everybody likes someone who makes them feel good, right? Everyone likes a person who makes him or her feel good. So the more you make your child feel good, the more they are naturally tilting towards pleasing you. Yes, tilting towards pleasing you, wanting to make you happy. Why? Because you make them feel good. Let me ask you, as a parent, as an adult, do you like someone who has bad energy, who's always nagging, always finding fault in what you do, always complaining or comparing you? Do you like it? I don't. Nah, I don't. Same thing happens to your child. So, when someone actually makes you feel good, tells you good things, it's easy for you to want to do more of those things so that the person keeps making you feel better. So all through this week, what we want to do is a challenge I'm taking. I'm not a perfect parent. I'm constantly learning and developing myself. So the challenge I'm taking, I am focusing on the good sides of my children. Yes, does it mean they will not misbehave? Nah, they will. So what do you want to do when they misbehave? You want to gently, because remember, it is the good side you are focusing on. It is the good side you are amplifying for the rest of this week. So what you want to do is to pay less attention to the downside. Whenever they misbehave, you just gently redirect them. Call their attention to it gently. Have them fix it gently. The good side is what you are going to amplify. It's what they are going to talk about. You see the way you used to nag. The way you used to nag when they misbehave. You see that voice, that tone, that drama that goes on when they misbehave. Take that energy into acknowledging their good this time around. That is for the entire week. Take that energy into acknowledging their good for the entire week. Let's try it for 1 week and see what will happen. Are you in this? Drop it in the comment section. Let me know that you are in our positive trait challenge. Let's go parenting. Let's go parenting with a vision.